A second episode of Why Has David Hoiness Taken $750,000 from a Pedophile? But not just a pedophile, a sex trafficking pedophile. It's kind of a big deal. I mean, we're not going to make a huge deal out of it, but we kind of want answers, Mr. Davey boy. All right. What? Who? People talking in the background. The disrespect. You guys hear that? Watch. Did you hear it? No? Yeah, all right. Yeah. Bzzz. It's not. All right, everybody. If you guys are watching this, share the video. We are going to unpack why David Hoiness of Billings, Montana, the Dave Hoiness of Billings, Montana, the owner of Ideal Manufacturing, took $750,000 from a, world-renowned, now-known pedophile. Those charges were brought forth on 2008. If you guys are watching this, share this video immediately. Don't wait. Amanda Ruth, hello, it's good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. If you guys are watching this, share this video as quickly as you possibly can. Don't wait. We want to know why the hell Billings, Montana had anything to do with building Little St. James, which is Epstein's Island. We want to know why. Why'd you build Epstein's Island? Why'd you build things on there that doesn't, you shouldn't have been there. Shouldn't have been there. And if you were there, what happened there? We just want to know why. Not saying you're a pedophile, because I would never make that claim, because I think that's excessive to say that you're a pedophile because you worked on a pedophile's island. But we want to know what the hell's going on. So, and this is I'm just going to let you guys know, if David Hoiness is watching this, or if he sees this, just know we are going to be coming into Ideal Manufacturing very soon. We're going to be asking questions. Finally got a night to make it while you're live. I'm glad that you're here, Amanda. That's amazing that you're here. Brianne, please respond and tell her you're happy if she's here. Have you guys shared this video? Both of you? Of course you have. Of course you have. But I would like to wonder, and here's my question. It's like, at some point, this dude is going to have to come out of the woodworks. He's going to have to come out of hiding, right? Like, you got somebody straight calling you out for being in the Epstein files. And tonight we are actually going to show receipts because we are figuring out how to run Streamlabs. And we're going to continue to run Streamlabs. We're going to continue to watch how we can do this. And we're going to continue to build this. So if you're watching this and you guys want to see some, hello, Jesus. She likes how she did that. Jesus, like Jesus, except for Jesus. I don't know if that's sacrilegious or not, but I don't think so. Anyways, if you're watching this, share this video. We're going to talk about why Dave Hoiness is taking $750,000 from a world-renowned pedophile. Tonight, we're going to start sharing receipts so everybody can see, without a shred of doubt, what was going on and what has been going on and why Billings, Montana hasn't demanded better from the people that live here. I mean, I don't want us to ever be in a position where we could be questioned. Like, I don't want, like, Montana can't, like, of all the things Montana would be known for, it's to help build Epstein's creepy island where they sacrifice kids and worship Satan and Baal and Moloch and all this other, like, it's wild, you guys. Like, this is a real thing. Like, I'm not lying. I'm going to give you guys a real quick little bow. Really? Ready? Bow. So that's coming up. But when we do this, I'm going to just say this. So I'm going to start my monologue. And I'm going to start doing things a little bit differently with the podcast. I'm going to really, really focus in on trying to build a narrative. So in 2007, we have a company here in Billings, Montana called Ideal Manufacturing. Now, Ideal Manufacturing, based on the information that we know, it was it basically builds silos with concrete. It purchased a bunch of concrete. There was roughly $260,000 that was transferred from Jeffrey Epstein's JP Morgan account over into an account. Now, Steve was supposedly the handler. Steve, if you are watching this, just know we will be finding out your last name and we will be calling you out as well. We just want to know answers, man. You may not be guilty of any crime, but what we do know is that you were there. And if you were not there, you had employees that were there. And if you had employees there, we want to know the names of the employees. And if anybody has information about the names of the employees, you guys can message me on Facebook, Cheslin Romero, and I would be happy to kind of unpack this. We are going to be doing some investigating. This is really going to be turning into a real investigation. We're not going to just be sitting here and doing the same thing over and over and over again, hoping that people tune in and listen. So what that means is this. We have had one of the most nefarious eras of American history. It is the largest conspiracy in American history. It is such a big problem, and it's so unbelievably evil that the current administration has not only has it bombed a country, but it has started an entire war with a country to mask the Epstein files, or to cover the Epstein files. That's not even to include the fact that Donald Trump was actually not only implicated hundreds of times, 1,000 now or something like that. I don't even know. It's a lot. I mean, he's been implicated a lot in the Epstein files. I haven't done enough research into that quite yet, but that's not what we're going to focus on. What we are going to focus on is the fact that Donald Trump actually commissioned and sanctioned the United States government to release files about extraterrestrials. Now, that is absolutely insane, stupid, and unbelievably sacrilegious. I can't even fathom the motive behind this situation. I think the problem that I'm faced with, and this is, I think, what everybody is faced with, is that we want to know answers. We don't want a bunch of, supernatural things that are being released to us because we think that somehow the distraction is going to suffice for the fact that we have now been notified that people were being young women. We don't even know if it's boys yet. We want to just assume that it's probably boys and girls, have been shipped around the United States, the world, from the United States and from around the world to an island called Little St. James. Now, Little St. James was the island that was essentially gifted to Jeffrey Epstein, if I'm not mistaken. And what Jeffrey Epstein decided to do with that island is by far one of the most disgustingly evil, malevolent, and dark things that has ever transpired in the history of the world. This is not just some, we want to talk about, Jews want to talk about the Holocaust, and we want to talk about the Bolshevik Revolution. We want to talk about all these things that were really awful. But one of the things that we have to consider is why in the world, and I mean why in the world, would this be allowed? Now, the question can simply be answered by the fact that this was a blackmail operation carried out by the CIA and the Mossad. Now, if you guys don't know what the Mossad is essentially the equivalent of the Israeli CIA. But the Mossad is also what helped found, or it was one of the founders of the CIA in 1949. Why this is a problem is because what has happened is we've been infiltrated by a foreign power. Why that's a problem is because now we don't make decisions on our own. We basically have to get permission from a country the size of New Jersey to make any type of claims, any kind of decisions. We have a mutual agreement between, one country and another. When we are hands down the most powerful country on the face of this earth, still no questions asked. We may not be the most powerful economy because we are not the most powerful economy anymore. Unfortunately, that title has been given over to China because they are the most powerful country as far as the economy goes in the world. That doesn't mean they're the most prosperous. It just means that they are the economic engine. Now, this is problematic because what has happened now is we have been essentially drug and manipulated into a war that we have no business fighting. Iranians can shout and chant death to America all they want. But primarily and fundamentally, we all know that they have no chance of traveling across the ocean to attack America on our soil. The idea that Americans would be at risk of a war on our own soil is near to impossible. It's not completely impossible, but it's near to impossible. Now, how that does end up happening is that we are completely economically weakened by a foreign country, and then they invade. But here's where things get a little bit sticky. We now have an administration that has proven that we are no longer in control of our own country. That has been evident by the fact that the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, openly admitted that Israel, because of the initial attack on Iran, they basically had roped us in and usurped our authority and said, essentially, we're going to bomb Iran, in which case you will eventually be the one that you'll have military bases in America that are bombed by the Iranian IRGC. Now, that's obviously a massive problem. So what the Secretary of State basically said is that we made a preemptive strike to prevent them from causing more damage than they possibly could. By initially causing damage that we could potentially have caused. Now we have dead Americans, multiple dead Americans that have no business being dead for a foreign country. And then what we have now is we have a country that we all love, the American country, that is economically being drained of its resources because we are trying to fight a war overseas that we have no business fighting. Now, why that little bit of a structure or a premise to this episode is because that war is not being fought for any other reason than to cover the Epstein files, which brings us into the next segment of this episode. I'm actually not going to be the scatterbrained Chez that I normally am. I've decided to organize my thoughts. I've decided to create a monologue prior to the start of every episode. And regardless of whether people watch this now or not, it's your choice to be ignorant. It's your choice to turn a blind eye to evil. Me, as far as I'm concerned, will not do any such thing. The Bible says that a man who knows to do good and does it not, to him it is counted as sin. And I refuse to know. If I know to do good and I do it not, that is counted to me as sin, and I've sinned enough in my life. It's time for me to turn the page. Now, this brings me to David Hoiness of Billings, Montana, with Ideal Manufacturing. Prior to the indictment and conviction of the world-renowned prior to the 2008 indictment and conviction of Jeffrey Epstein, what has happened with that situation has now been buried under the bombing of Fordo and the war in Iran. Now, extraterrestrials and among other really ridiculously stupid, ignorant, arrogant, and unbelievably disrespectful things that the president could have possibly done, he chooses to try and cover up for not only himself and his family and friends, but he's also chosen to cover up for the Kushners, the Adelsons, the Weisses, all the people that have no business being covered up for. Zionist, scumbag, piece of garbage human beings who have no business breathing our air. And I mean that with all of the authenticity that I could possibly state it with. Now, I am not going to be one of those guys that is going to sit quietly. I won't do it anymore. So what's happening tonight is I'm turning a new leaf even on my podcast because I don't want to be scatterbrained Chez. I don't want to constantly be answering texts and messages and all these other things because fundamentally what that is disrespectful to my audience, and I want my audience to be able to have a very clear-cut message with a point and a conclusion. And the point is tonight the question is tonight is for David Hoiness of Ideal Manufacturing, the owner of Ideal Manufacturing. What I would like to know is why you took $750,000, why you built silos on Little St. James, why you had employees on Little St. James, and what happened on Little St. James while you were there. Because $750,000 is not a small chunk of change. If any one of us was handed a $750,000 check, we would be ecstatically happy. And we would make compromise. Some of us would make compromises. I wouldn't, because I have signed a $310,000 contract this year, and that's good money. It's legal money. It's clean money. It's money that I can be proud of. Hardworking money. Money that I can look at and say, you know what? I worked my butt off to get to where I'm at today. I don't have to take it from a pedophile. And I also don't have to be involved in one of the most nefarious, malevolent conspiracies in history. The most malevolent and nefarious conspiracy in history. I don't have to, and I won't. Tonight we are showing receipts from David Hoiness from the actual Department of Justice website where you can find. I believe the in Tylen Bates is joining us tonight, not via camera, but he is in the messages, and he will explain to you. For those of you who are wondering, he'll answer my questions. He'll probably cover my questions. But if you guys are watching this, understand this, that we are now dealing with a man who has refused to come out and answer any questions. David Hoiness, this can be very simply answered. You can dead this entire question, and you could pretty much dead at this point in time every single question that everybody is asking now, which is, why did you take money from Jeffrey Epstein? What did you do to get that money? Did you make decisions and compromises? Are you a man of faith? Did they give you some type of political power or influence? Did you lobby? Did they lobby you? What happened? Because we want to know. And I don't think it's an unreasonable question to ask. And I don't think it's unreasonable to request your answer either. So therefore, tonight's going to be the night that we absolutely 100% show the evidence. Now, what I need to do is I'm going to increase the size of this. And if you look here at the bottom of the screen, you will see right here, Ideal Manufacturing, Inc., balance for the batch PLA, $752,223.47. And what I want to know is why in the hell you took that money. Because if you don't start answering questions, we're going to start answering questions for you, and I don't think you want that to happen. Because if you do, what ends up happening from this point is everybody gets to draw their own conclusion as to why you took $750,000. Back in 2007, when the dollar was worth significantly more than it is today. $750,000 would today buy 3 houses. Or excuse me, back then buy 3 houses. Today it would buy at least 2 that I know of for sure, that I can go and purchase two large plots of real estate. But you chose to double your company in size. Now, we want to know why. Why is Dave taking an oath of silence on the Epstein files, mentioning his company's involvement until he was called out? Now, mind you, this is interesting. This is an interesting question because he decided he wanted to reach out to none other than the investigative journalist that has now been listed among the 10 most powerful men in Montana, Tylen Bates, my good friend, somebody who I'm in very close contact with on a daily basis, literally every day. And if you think for one split second, Mr. Dave Hoiness, that we are going to let this go, we are not. The investigation starts in T-minus 10 days. So you have 10 days to reach out to me. You have 10 days to come on my podcast. You have 10 days. I'm offering you my platform before we start the deep dive investigation as to where that money went, where it came from, and why you took it. And again, we understand that you took it for contractual reasons. You did work on the island. You have now built silos, which we know because we looked up what your company does. And what your company does is it manufactures concrete silos. Well, what do you think those concrete silos did on Little St. James, Mr. Dave Hoiness? They were used to molest and kill kids, or at base minimum, to house a bunch of weird, nefarious oligarch billionaires who have been touching children. You're lucky. I'm just going to say you're very lucky. You're lucky that people don't care about pedophiles. You're lucky that I can post a video about, my personal life and get hundreds and hundreds of viewers, and post about the Epstein files and get very little. You're lucky. You're lucky, but you're not going to be lucky for very long. Because as this investigation continues to grow, so will the clarity of your motives. So, with that being said, because we have had such, and this is an obvious thing. I mean, you're also lucky that you have Zionist billionaire pieces of shit who are covering for you. You bag of garbage. Because if you were not, then we would have hundreds of people watching this at all times. Now, mind you, you're lucky. So I'm gonna give you that much. Don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable with the idea that you are going to get away with this, because you're not. Again, you may be innocent, but until you come out and exonerate yourself with some type of, at least base minimum, an alibi, and a strong alibi at that, which you better have, we're going to continue and not let it go. Now I am going to turn over to some comments. We're going to read some comments. We're going to address some comments. And, of course, Tylen Bates is going to ask some really powerful questions. What did you build on the island? And on the island, who did you see on the island? What did you see? Who flew you over there? Was it Big Sky Aviation? Does the NDA cover after death, or is it under someone else's coverage? We are concerned about the innocent victims as a people. So what the problem is that you have now a bunch of pissed off people. Now, if you guys are watching this, don't not do this. I need you to share this video. There were people that were victimized. There were people that were assaulted sexually, physically. There were children that were killed, babies that were sacrificed. We need to get these answers now. Why was Billings, Montana ever implicated in the fucking Epstein files? Excuse my language. But Dave Hoiness, you silly, weird dude, why in the world are you still not saying anything? And why would you hit up Tylen Bates and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know? Matthew Cohen asked, was it payment for services? The answer is yes, it was payment for services. But again, what services? That is going to be covered tomorrow. We're going to talk about the actual work orders that were put and implemented by the Epstein files. But before we do that, I'm going to share one more time the amount of money that was cleared into Ideal Manufacturing from the JP Morgan account that belonged to Jeffrey Epstein himself. Here it is. For those of you guys who are wondering, now I'm going to scroll up on this so everyone can see. This is directly from the Department of Justice.gov. So I want to know, again, why? What did you do? What did you see? Were you a part of anything? Did they try to manipulate you into participation? Answer my questions. Why a random company from Montana? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why? What would have possessed the Jeffrey Epstein, who had an unlimited amount, and I mean an unlimited amount of resources, connections all over the world, not just connections to billionaires, oligarchs, but world leaders. What would possess him to need information from you? So, now, this is very interesting. Well, we've proven my censorship. Tylen Bates just said, dude, dead ass censorship.
Bro, you're not even showing that you're live. Look at this. Those of you guys who are wondering. Now, I'm going to scroll up on this. You're not even showing that you're live, bro. See? That's fucking crazy.
So, wow. No, I am not private. I am not private. That is not, I am a public profile. That is a fact.
Change the camera back so you can see yourself. All you can see is the document.
Well, this is interesting because what this tells everybody is that I'm not lying when I say that I have been censored. That everything that I have built so far is being suppressed because I've decided to jump in. The cost of services from a company from Billings would be higher, I would think, than a company closer to the island. Now, here's where I think this is interesting, okay? Here's where I think this is interesting. Because this is, by far, Tylen Bates says even on his account, I'm being suppressed. It says right here, this is crazy. Your live is blocked. If you guys are watching this, please don't just be weird. Please, I'm asking you, stop being fucking weird and watching the fucking live feed and not sharing it. Share the live feed. It is proven. We are proving. He is proving in real time that I am literally being suppressed. My page is being suppressed by Zionists. all of the hard work that I've built so hard, that I've worked so hard to accomplish, all of it, I'm watching slip right through my hands because I am doing the right thing. And there have been a lot of times where I have not done the right thing in my life. There have been a lot of times where I've made decisions in my life that I'm not proud of. There have been a lot of times where I've made decisions that would contradict my convictions. But the first time in my entire life that I've done something altruistically for no other reason other than to bring justice for victims that were victimized on Epstein's Island and were being suppressed. We don't know what he saw on St. James. But what I do know is that this is disgusting. Amanda, I shared and I'm still hearing the live, but it'll probably go blank in a minute. You're disclosing some pretty sensitive stuff, but somebody has to. Also, just make a new page. I will do that. Let's see if I can add your wife, Tylen, in real time. Let's see. Cheyenne Bates. Matthew, thank you for your share. Man, it's crazy to watch. It truly is. Yeah. Oh, man. I can't even tell you. I'm going over to my just to see if my profile settings. I'm going to edit. Let's do my privacy. Review settings. Manage audience settings. Crazy. You guys want to hear something crazy? I can't even make my profile public. That is insane.
Yeah, no longer says any of your posts are public anymore since 1 day ago.
What's that?
Since a day ago. This one shows a world right there. But everything else, like the live we did at the house, is public. But these last 3 are all... That's wild.
I can't go public. That is absolutely insane.
Wow.
That is absolutely crazy, you guys. That is absolutely crazy. You hear that, Dom? That is truly an unbelievable thing that I'm experiencing right now. Well, the show must go on. The show must happen. We must absolutely 100%, no questions asked. We have to fight back. If you're watching this, please share the video. It's the best thing that we can do for now. And so I would ask that if you're watching this, to share the video and to Austin Rell, if you're watching this, we have now discovered that I'm being censored, that my outreach is being suppressed. That essentially nothing I can do right now because I'm talking about pedophiles and their sick games on Epstein's Island. I mean, at this point in time, I wouldn't doubt. I do have a TikTok, and I am doing it for Charlie. Austin Rell, if you're wondering, oh snap, we live? Yes, Austin, we are. Wow. you guys. So what's happening now is that the live feeds are being cut out. My live feeds are being cut out. That's wild. Man, I can't even tell you. It feels like somebody punched me in my gut. It feels like somebody punched me in my gut. I'm like literally sick to my stomach. Like, I've worked so hard my whole life to have this type of influence, and you want to know what's crazy? They're suppressing it all because I'm talking about pedophiles. What an unbelievably disgusting thing. What an unbelievably disgusting thing. Zuckerberg is watching. I wonder if he is. Can you imagine? Just a bunch of billionaire weirdos that are watching my feed being like, damn, this dude from Billings, Montana is about to drop bombs on everybody. Because here's the thing that you have to understand. Somebody said something. They said it seems like it would be strange to hire a company from Billings, Montana to basically to do your, or to hire, Let's ask my YouTube following really quick. Are you not seeing me on Facebook again? That's wild, you guys. He said Zionist cucking over your life. Zuckerberg Zionist. Yeah, Zuckerberg is a Zionist. Well, I'd say, listen, you're a bag of shit. All of you really garbage human beings. But so am I. Yep. Cody Barker, who's in my group chat, my controversial group chat, says, I said, are you not seeing me on Facebook again? And he said, no. That is wild. Not even my friends are seeing me live on Facebook. That is insane. That's absolutely wild. I can't tell you how, you guys, I truly feel sick to my stomach. Oh, yeah, by the way, somebody just messaged me and said, I'm trying to share your video and I can't. Zuck Lord is attacking free speech. You're not lying, friend. Well, the show must go on. So, I am going to do some research. Because I'm the researching type of guy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find, well, Austin, you, for some reason, bro, we don't know. I've just been shown up. This was the land of the free and home of the brave. What a joke. Well, Austin, the reason why you can Austin, the reason you can see it right now is because there is there's some people are being allowed to see it and some aren't. And the reason we know this is because I just got sent a video while I was live just now from one of the guys that helped me build this podcast by the information and the investigations that he's given me, that essentially what has happened is that they have now suppressed what I'm saying because I'm against the Iranian war. They are suppressing me. You were the first thing that popped up when I got on. Well, that's good, Austin. I'm glad that makes me happy. But the problem is that what happened in what is happening is that they're suppressing my episodes because I'm talking about some very sensitive situation, the Epstein files. Now, mind you have to remember this too. They're going to allow some people to see it to say, oh well, we didn't suppress free speech. But they're not going to allow as many because what has ended up happening in this process is that somehow, in some way, this weird way, we have now gotten a couple of my episodes got really big. One of them was when I first mentioned Dave Hoiness. But the reason why you're able to see it right now is because they're going to allow certain people to see it. But what I do know is that my friend just literally took a video of somebody else's phone who was in the same room. What are we talking? Yes. Okay. Can we talk about the Edomites and how when we call them out, they do what they did to Charlie because it ties to the synagogue of Satan that Jesus was talking about. I would say this. So let's keep going because I'm not going to let this go. I'm not going to let this deviate me too much. Anyways, back to the story. Back to the investigation. So what ended up happening was when the Epstein files dropped, my friend Tylen, who is a very, very powerful investigative journalist in the state of Montana, he lives over in Great Falls. Sorry if I gave too much information away, but he's a Great Falls journalist, and and shout out to the Weekly Bust, which is his channel. But what ended up happening was he developed his own AI. And what he did was he said, I want you to find all the files that Billings or any files that Billings, Montana, Great Falls, or Montana was ever implicated in the Epstein files. Well, a gigantic amount of them came up. And so what ended up happening was he paraphrased. During the investigation, what he was able to do was he was able to essentially get a profile, like basically develop PDF files that would basically very clearly unpack what was happening in the Epstein files. Now, of course, every single time I stop mentioning the Epstein files, my viewers go up to 15. I start mentioning the Epstein files, they drop down to 6. I'm serious, you guys. This is somebody goes some like. Of course, he's an envious hater. He's like, oh yeah, you don't think it wasn't because your show is getting boring? No, it's not because the show is getting boring, you idiot. People are literally being implicated from Billings, Montana. Everybody wants to know what. And every time I bring this up to people who I'm talking to on the street, they all say the same thing, which is, what? Are you being serious? Billings is in the Epstein files? And I'm like, yeah, Billings is in the Epstein files. Straight up. And it's strange to me. It is weird. And here's the other thing I think is interesting. Every single time that we start talking about things that are sensitive to the Zionist regime, anything that is interesting and it sucks. It's a hard pill to swallow for me. It's a super hard pill to swallow for me. I've never had this much suppression. I'm being suppressed. My freedom of speech is being suppressed. Absolutely, 100%. I'm being profiled. I'm probably more than likely gonna I'll probably get questioned by the FBI again soon, because that's what happened the last time, and I am almost positive that's coming yesterday. But Dave Hoiness, we're not letting this go. So tonight we dropped one receipt, and we only did the one receipt because we wanted to get people hooked in, and unfortunately, it's all the same. It's all the same. So I'm going to be doing some research tonight about how to loophole this ridiculously disgusting suppression of my free speech and why the fuck people can't see my shit. So everybody is aware. Everyone I talk to says there's nothing we can do about it. It's happened, past tense, and there's no justice anyway, which is disheartening. See, and that to me, no. I'm not. I'm simply not gonna. I don't accept that. No, I simply don't accept that. No, sorry. That might be them, and they may be coward. They may be cowards. They may be weak. They may be pathetic in their own right, and they can be pathetic and cowards. But I'm not going to be a pathetic, weak coward. That's simply not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it a point that no matter what happens, I refuse, under any uncertain circumstance at all, ever to allow this to let I can't even imagine. Imagine if they're one of the parents. Imagine one of the parents of those kids. Imagine one of the parents of those kids and saying, yeah, my kid was one of those kids that they sacrificed on the Epstein files. Saying nothing can be done is insane. Yeah. Saying that nothing can be done is simply one of the most cowardice and weak things that any man has ever spoken or allowed to come out of his lips. I will show you that something can be done. I am going to be set on this. I am 100,000% set. I am not letting this go. I don't give a flying fuck. I don't care. So, I guess we're knocking on Dave Hoiness' door. T-minus less than 10 days. You just lost yourself 3 or 4 days, bud. So, as a matter of fact, I'm going to say this. The investigation starts next Monday. So, you have a couple days, bud. You have a couple days. Me and my good friend Dominic over here, we're gonna document every single fucking time that we go in there and you deny us. That you deny us access, you deny us an interview, you deny us all these things. We will not shut the camera off. We will absolutely get every bit of information, and we're going to fucking start asking questions because everybody that I know that has ever worked for IDL Manufacturing has already told me that there has been some weird shit that has happened there. So, choice is up to you, buddy. It's up to you. This is the Controversial Podcast with Chez Romero, where we talk about all things controversial. I'm going to end this so that I can figure out how in the world I can combat the devil, which is Bibi Netanyahu, for sure, possessed by Satan. Anybody who follows Bibi Netanyahu, anybody who accepts Bibi Netanyahu, anybody who, you guys are, it's controversial.